Yo, how's it going, folks? So this episode of One Piece, is a mixture of good and bad. I did enjoy the episode for what it was. The story progression was pretty good. The introduction to the Minks was pretty good as well. Then we get Luffy. Let's start off the beginning. Monkey, Luffy swinging around like a monkey, studying the rest of the crew. We get introduced. Otherwise, we get introduced to the Carrot and Wanda. They made up with Tron and Zoro and the crew. Now the whole thing about Wanda saying if you go to the right forest, you'll meet the cops to your friends. Even Zoro says that there's no way it was signing to die, which is another way of complimenting them. They don't usually do that when they're together, so that's kind of cool. Now, I thought about I'm just freaking out over the fact that you should know and that's situation, and they continue to like plot with Usopp's character. That's the problem with the episode as well. The animation, I don't know what's going on with it, but I don't just focus on one side of the episode. I just focus on a lot more of the episode. That being said, Law had to meet up with the crew. You do get to see in this episode meet up with Luffy. So, and he just got to say, Lord just got to say, he wasn't sure if he's going to meet up with the crew because he didn't know what was going to go down with Amigo. So, which makes sense, I guess. So, it looks like we get a reunion pretty soon, which is cool. And I got Luffy with some of the Guardians of the Whale Forest. One of them's the Bull Mink, the one's a Gorilla Mink. And the interesting thing about this is now the collection went on for too long, especially since Luffy can't be affected by electricity. Now, I wonder if that is I don't think it still hasn't been elaborated, but or maybe it's just a different technique that the Minks can use. The took up war, I guess, with Luffy and with the Bull Mink, and obviously the reason I think that Luffy wasn't just because he was made out of rubber, the same way he managed to take down an L with the same reason, and their expression was the same. He was like, "What's wrong with that?" So, but Wanda just got to say, if you're lucky there wasn't a moon there, or I see a little bit more of a different story. So, and having read the manga, I can tell you this: the Minks. So yeah, so Luffy has title, and I like it because we're dealing with the first bunch of people in the new world that aren't scrubs. We saw freshmen, so nothing dress rosa. So it's good to see that the Mink track can handle themselves. And speaking of which, what was another thing that was impressed with the way leaping ability was unbelievable. Now I saw it in the manga, but seeing it in the anime is a different story entirely. She jumps up to scope out what's going on with Luffy and the rest of the Guardians, and when we get the introduction to Wanda, the Guardians, she stops the grill with the bananas, and Carrot stops the bull with the red flag, which is and the thing about the Minks, which is super different from any other what else we've seen in the New World, is they don't come across as hateful towards the Straw Hats, which is usually the main thing when we go to different. So it's kind of refreshing to see that. Now I know the whole part about the animation, it wasn't good. It should have been a lot better. But I will say I would not up too much because it's early days and the art's far from concluded. And speaking of which, the animation for next week looks a lot better. If you saw the preview, I mean, you already knew this right. We're not starting the rest of the crew working now. Now, the whole thing about Luffy meeting up with Beppo, that was the comedic part of the episode. But getting to see that Law's crew post time skip was okay. And Beppo got bandaged stuff, and that's the thing too. Most of the Minks got bandaged stuff as well. So we couldn't find out that Zoro was under attack recently. So, and at first, Luffy doesn't recognize who Beppo is or the rest of the Lord's crew because he doesn't remember a whole lot. But when we finally realize, oh, you're Chogai's crew, aren't you? And they're like, who's Chogai? We only know Trafalgar Law, and that's what Luffy said. Oh, said Chogai, and so that went on for a while. And the whole thing about Usopp's character just freaking out. Most of this episode it was a downer. It's like really, and he should have more faith in his crew than anything else. So it's an ongoing gag with Toei Animation. It goes on way too much. But I will say we do get introduced to the Mink Pedro, which did you see how many Minks flew past Luffy? According to Luffy, he didn't detect any one of them with observational haki. So that was kind of interesting that many Minks could go undetected as well as Pedro. And they got one that just got to say, Pedro, I'll take care of it. You don't need to be here. And they're going to take him to assume to where Chopper is because we get that in the preview, and I'm hyped up about that. Despite what went down in this episode, I'm still hyped about that. It looks better than next week, I'll say that. There were inconsistencies with the animation, but the Minks were the best part of the episode, in my opinion. And the whole thing about it, it looks like Law's going to meet up with his crew pretty soon. And speaking of Law, we get to see them, Law and the rest of the rats, find a way through the elephants back. The ruined, the city's pretty much ruined. And we come to find out, according to Wanda, there was Jack that demolished the whole place, which makes sense because we saw Kaido's boys not that too long ago. When we got introduction to Kaido, we also got to see some of the Zoans attack Nami and the rest of the crew. So it makes sense that they would be the main ones to attack the village because they were there. It was, I don't think that was spoiled as well as the elephant, but as well as the Jack being in the opening, which kind of spoiled in being elephant, so you can kind of put two and two together and put it out. And Zoro finds the torture chamber, which has been used recently in Conda. You saw food being left on display recently. The village was under attack a week or 2 weeks at max. So, I mean, recently at the time frame of this arc, stuff went down. Is going to be a huge factor as well. And obviously Beppo got caught in the action as well. Usopp thinks that Sanji must have proved got the action, which spoiler warning, they did technically. Because we saw Sanji take down that. So big things gonna happen next week. I can't wait. That hit the fields in the manga. So if they nail it down and get it right, this could be next week a hell of episode. But I mean, it was okay. This was an okay episode. I'm not just animation because it's that thing. But I will say it should have been a lot more sharp. But also, yeah, the Zoark soundtrack is beginning to resonate with me. It's most scenes. So that's neat. I really want to see what happens next. I think that one that's kind of leaving the episode in suspense of whether or not the okay or not. Even though we saw the preview, they clearly are. There is going to be a reunion as a piece from the Straw Hat reunion, and if you haven't read the manga, I'm going to guarantee you it's going to feel. And if you have to read the manga, I'm still looking forward to animation sloppiness. Could have been part of stuff a little better. Down, but everything else was I thought. Not the best episode, could have been a lot better, but it's a much worthy episode, in my opinion. So those thoughts down below. Like this video if you appreciate that. Comment, rate, subscribe.